diversity and inclusion. It started with the best of intentions. Colleges wanted.
Are you listening to this guy?
He's not wrong. I mean,
this is self-reflection and at his finest.
he's bringing out the facts.
He is. I mean, I think this is good. And this is CNN. I can't believe CNN is talking like this. And I mean, Fareed Zakariah. Guys, wait till you hear this man. I was like, wait a minute, what am I listening to? Is this CNN? But he's making an argument against diversity, equity, and inclusion. But he's only making this argument because I'm guessing he must be a Jew. His name is very much Jewish. He's making an argument because of what Hamas has done to Israel. And he's talking about how our colleges are supporting Hamas. But he's making an argument against diversity, equity, and inclusion, intersectionality, and all that stuff. How he's not working. And our children are dumb. That's what he's saying.
Go figure.
I was I'm like, what?
Haven't we been saying that for years?
Yeah, where did he get that
now?
Yeah, where did he get that? Where did he get that from?
Must be he's been watching our channel.
Yeah. I thought the people that were saying this were white supremacists. The people that used to say this, we are called the mega extremists, Trumpism. But wait a minute. They, like you said, the difference between conspiracy theory and the truth is about 6 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Israel and Palestine situation is exposing the reality of the left and how far their ideology is just
poisoning.
It's not. Yeah, it's inconsistent. It's poisoning. It's not true. It's all false. And that's what that war has led us to realize, that the left has been playing this game.
It's a house of cards that's crumbling.
Surely is. All right, let's take a listen to this.
Here's my take. When one thinks of America's greatest strengths, the kind of assets the world looks at with admiration and envy, America's elite universities would long have been at the top of that list. But the American public has been losing faith in these universities for good reason. 3 university presidents came under fire this week for their vague and indecisive answers when asked whether calling for the genocide of Jews would violate their institution's codes of conduct. But to understand their performance, we have to understand the broad shift that has taken place at elite universities, which have gone from being centers of excellence to institutions pushing political agendas. People sense the transformation. As Paul Tuff has pointed out, the share of young adults who said a college degree was very important fell from 74% in 2013 to just 41% in 2019. In 2018, 61% of those polls said higher education was headed in the wrong direction, and only 38% felt it was on the right track. In 2016, 70% of America's high school graduates were headed for college. Now that number is 62%. This souring on higher education makes America an outlier among all advanced nations. American universities have been neglecting a core focus on excellence in order to pursue a variety of agendas, many of them clustered around diversity and inclusion. It started with the best of intentions. Colleges wanted.
Are you listening to this guy?
He's not wrong. I mean,
this is self-reflection and at his finest.
He's bringing out the facts.
He is. I mean, I think this is good. It feels good to hear it coming from a CNN, That is amazing.
It's surprising coming from CNN, I would say. Not necessarily feels good, but surprising.
Surprising, yeah. I mean, wow. That's crazy he's saying that.
Like, I'm surprised they hadn't cut his feed yet.
Yeah. Wow. The advertiser boycotts are coming. You keep talking like this.
Or
those
his
diversities, those diversities, equity, and inclusion, those ESG scores are gonna go down, boy. Because they're funding the network. And if you keep talking like this against their plan, BlackRock and Vanguard, these guys are gonna say, what's wrong with you? You've been spending too much time on the right. Maybe you're a friend of Elon Musk or something. Maybe you know Alex Jones. That's your problem. I know I'm messing around, but this is crazy. He's talking like this.
Tensions. Colleges wanted to make sure young people of all backgrounds had access to higher education and felt comfortable on campus. But those good intentions have morphed into a dogmatic ideology and turned these universities into places where the pervasive goals are political and social engineering, not academic merit. As the evidence produced for the
Hold
recent
up,
Supreme
hold up,
Court
hold
case
up.
on
Play that again.
He's
Play that
preaching, yo.
again.
He's preaching.
Yes.
As the evidence produced for the recent Supreme Court case on affirmative action showed, universities have systematically downplayed, but those good intentions and inclusion. It started with the best of intentions. Colleges wanted to make sure young people of all backgrounds had access to higher education and felt comfortable on campus. But those good intentions have morphed into a dogmatic ideology and turned these universities into places where the pervasive goals are political and social engineering, not academic merit.
He
I'm
is
sorry.
so on point with that.
This I'm just so shocked that this is coming from CNN.
I know, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's right. Let's give credit where credit is due. Uh, he's been doing some self-reflection. Well, here's my question. Why did it take Hamas going over to Israel, did what they did, and get the kind of reaction we got from our schools in support of Hamas, calling them freedom fighters, for you to come to this conclusion? When Black Lives Matter were burning down cities, you call it social justice.
Yeah.
When they were robbing stores, you call it reparation. These were the same people that were advocating for the same policies that were so radical from the left. And when we spoke about it, you call us white supremacists. You call us blackface of white supremacists. You say you've been radicalized, boy. You've been listening to Trump too much. But it took Israel to go under attack for these people to wake up. What about the anti-whiteism that's been going on in this country from the left? Can we talk about that?
Anti-Chinese.
Yes. It's been going on for a long time. When you hear diversity, equity, and inclusion, that diversity, inclusion is actually a movement against white people. Because the only people that are not included in the group are white people. Let's be honest.
And Asians.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah. If they're successful, they're doing well, they're the majority, we got to get rid of them. But what they also realizing here, and I'm going to let him finish, I think they're realizing that the world is too complicated. And I've said this before, to try and to put everybody in little boxes like this, it doesn't work. When you try to take Jewish people and Muslim, black people and gays, and you try to put them all in one bucket, eventually it just spills over.
Overflows. Yeah.
It overflows and it starts to turn into something else. And now it's turning against them because the same policies from the left is the reason why these colleges are supporting the Islamic people instead of the Jews. It was the same policies that led to that. They created a monster. Now, I'm not justifying what they're doing. I'm just saying the policies that you guys advocated for so long are the reason why our colleges and our students are saying queer for Palestine or chicken for KFC. They're saying stuff they're saying. Maybe you should rethink the entire thing.
Lovely stew, you end up with nothing but a giant crock pot full of useless gruel.
Yeah. You can't. The world is way complex. It's not that simple. You going with the oppressed and the oppressor mindset. Not everybody's an oppressor in a way that you might think.
Yeah.
The oppression of black people is not the same as LGBT. And I hate when they put all this stuff in the same camp. Listen, somebody's sexuality and somebody's being oppressed because of their skin color that could not change. And then somebody's making a particular decision to be in a particular way, whatever the reason might be, or not exactly the same group.
And then you're forcing people to live in a victim's mindhood.
Can't. They're not. Yeah, what done happened to the Jews under Hitler? And you can't mix that with the history of black people. You can't mix that with what happened to LGBT. You can't mix that with the Chinese. It's not exactly the same thing, although they may have one or two things in common. But when you're mixing it, it's a lot more complicated than that. Eventually, stuff gets wrapped up, man. You get knotted. And then this is why we seeing these divisions. That day. At least they're waking up, Better late than never.
Goals are political and social engineering, not academic merit. As the evidence produced for the recent Supreme Court case on affirmative action showed, universities have systematically downplayed merit-based criteria for admissions in favor of racial quotas. Some universities' response to this ruling seems to be that they will go further down this path, eliminating the requirement for any standardized tests like the SAT. That move would allow them to then take students with little reference to objective criteria. Of course, those who would suffer most would be bright students from poor backgrounds who normally use tests like the SAT to demonstrate their qualifications. In the humanities, hiring for new academic positions now appears to center on the race and gender of the applicant, as well as the subject matter, which needs to be about marginalized groups. A white man studying the American presidency does not have a prayer of getting tenure at a major history department in America today. Grade and
Wow. Unbelievable.
Man,
Unbelievable.
he is just hitting
He's on
every
fire
nail.
though. He's on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, despite my criticism, he's on fire. He's hitting all the right notes.
Yeah.
as groups. A white man studying the American presidency does not have a prayer of getting tenure at a major history department in America today. Grade inflation in the humanities is rampant. At Yale, the median grade is now an A. New subjects crop up that are really political agendas, not academic fields. You can now major in diversity, equity, and inclusion at some colleges. The ever-growing bureaucracy devoted to diversity, equity, and inclusion naturally recommends that more time and energy be spent on these issues. The most obvious lack of diversity at universities, political diversity, which clearly affects their ability to analyze many issues, is never addressed, showing that these goals are not centrally related to achieving or sustaining or building excellence. Out of this culture of diversity has grown the collection of ideas and practices that we have now all heard of: safe spaces, trigger warnings, microaggressions. As the authors Jonathan Haidt and Greg Lukianoff have discussed, many of these colleges have instituted speech codes that make it a violation of university rules to say things that some groups might find offensive. Universities advise students not to speak, act, even dress in ways that might cause offense to some minority groups. With this culture of virtue signaling growing, the George Floyd protests erupted and many universities latched on.
This brother's on fire tonight. I'm actually happy because I just love the truth, even when the donkey speaks it. It's
Right.
just that, wow. I mean, we were right.
Gee, go figure.
Hey, guess what? We were supposed to judge this whole time by the content of character, not by skin color. Oh, it took you a while to realize this was true. That's not white supremacist talk. That's called common sense. I tell you, boy. What a wake-up call.
Growing, the George Floyd protests erupted and many universities latched on and issued statements effectively aligning their institutions with these protests. By my memory, few took such steps even after 9/11 or during the Iraq War. In this context, it is understandable that Jewish groups would wonder, why do safe spaces, microaggressions, and hate speech not apply to us? If universities can take positions against free speech to make some groups feel safe, why not us? Having coddled so many student groups for so long, university administrators found themselves squirming, unable to explain why certain groups, Jews, Asians, don't seem to count in these conversations. Having gone so far down the ideological path, these universities and these presidents could not make the case clearly that at the center of a university is the free expression of ideas, and that while harassment and intimidation would not be tolerated, offensive speech would and should be protected. As CNN's Van Jones has eloquently said, the point of college is to keep you physically safe, but intellectually unsafe, to force you to confront ideas that you vehemently
Wait. Whoa. like the meme will say, whoa. Van
Hold
Jones,
up. Wait a
hold up.
minute. Something ain't right.
Hold up. I gotta push back against this. Wait. So he said this with his own mouth? Okay. There is a major contradiction in belief system here. I gotta find it. Don't worry. It's here somewhere. It's here somewhere.
Let's see the
So
receipts.
yeah, let's get to it. There he is, found, and I found the culprit. Here. Listen to Van Jones.
And the smug, condescending way that he just spews this poison out is very, very dangerous, because he won't stop Trump, but he's going to outlive Trump by about 50 years. And you're watching the rise of an American demagogue that is a very, very despicable person.
Yeah.
And I was shaking listening to him talk, because a lot of people don't know that is one step away from Nazi propaganda coming out of his mouth.
But the good thing, Van,
Do you see the hypocrisy? Did you get it? So on one end, Van Jones says we need to challenge our students. We need to challenge their thinking. I agree with that. But Vivek Ramaswamy, this is from the Hill, from Vivek Ramaswamy at the debate.
Yeah.
Said a number of things on the debate. Van Jones said those words.
He's just calling people out to the mat on their policies, like any good candidate would do.
Yeah, exactly. But which one is it, Van Jones? Like, do we have the right to speak? Do we have the freedom of conscience? Are we allowed to challenge people's thinking or not? That's all I'm asking. Which one is it? Or do you only allow it in certain spaces? It's okay to do in school. Yeah, it's okay to do in school. You can challenge the Christian. You can bring evolutionism. You can bring all kind of theory in school, and that's okay. Postmodernism, atheism, that's welcome. Right? But if Vivek Ramaswamy challenged the establishment, you say his words represents America's demagogue. You say his word is leading to Nazi propaganda. What kind of nonsense are you saying, though?
Mm-hmm.
That's all. I just wanted to push back against that. Whoa. We have a contradiction.
Yeah, for sure.
the free expression of ideas, and that while harassment and intimidation would not be tolerated, offensive speech would and should be protected. As CNN's Van Jones has eloquently said, the point of college is to keep you physically safe, but intellectually unsafe, to force you to confront ideas that you vehemently disagree with. What we saw in the House hearing this week was the inevitable result of decades of the politicization of universities. America's top colleges are no longer seen as bastions of excellence, but partisan outfits, which means they will keep getting buffeted by these political storms as they emerge. They should abandon this long misadventure into politics, retrain their gaze on their core strengths, and rebuild their reputations as centers of research and learning.
That's what we've been saying to you guys.
Right.
Thank you for articulating the thought that we once had, we all had, still do. Thank you for not calling us white supremacists, for saying, yeah, let school be schools. They're not supposed to be some kind of political partisan nonsense. Leave the woke ideology, the diversity, equity, ESG, leave that stuff away from the students. It has nothing to do with education.
Nope.
Stop trying to indoctrinate them into LGBTQIA plus theories. That's not what school was meant to be. So it's not just colleges, even in our young students, even in high school.
Education
as a whole has nothing to do with none of these nonsense.